Hello, welcome to the kitchen.
Thank you.
Could you introduce yourself?
For sure. Hi, I'm Sable, musician and producer and sound engineer from Manchester, England.
What kind of food would suit the vibe?
This has been a hot topic of the day with me and Carla. I think so this song itself is dramatic, but also kind of funny, very tongue-in-cheek, sort of British sense of humour almost. Effectively saying like, maybe if I am like the most successful version of myself, maybe then I'll be good enough for you, and how can I do my best and still not be enough? And so we were thinking maybe something Italian that's very simple, like aglio e olio or pasta pomodoro, which is very simple, but when it hits, and if you don't like it, then probably your problem.
Do you have a favorite lyric you've written?
Yeah, actually, it's from my first EP. There's a song called Daedalus on there. The lyrics are, "You treat kisses like a currency, cash it in now, you can save mine for later." When I remember coming up with that and being like, that's fun, that's funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
Is that the British humor?
I think so. I think there's always, someone once said to me, an ex-colleague of mine, that like my music doesn't necessarily sound like the kind of British indie thing sonically, but in terms of the way that I like write lyrics, he hears a lot of that, like Robert Smith, also Morrissey, even the New Order thing. I think there's a lot of like wordplay in the music that I grew up with.
Are those some of your big influences?
New Order, definitely. I'm from Manchester, I grew up around it. I've seen them so many times. I think The Cure I came to a little bit later, but my dad loved the Smiths when I was growing up, so the Smiths were always on. But then also like on other sides, like Kate Bush is probably my biggest influence. I think she's astounding. And especially in terms of me starting to produce music, like she produced Hounds of Love herself when she was 26. And I think it's one of the best albums of all time. And that really made me want to take more control of my own music in that way.
Yeah. You also produce for other people, right?
Yeah.
Does that influence the way you produce for yourself?
Yeah, loads actually. I think like last year was when I really started producing for other people. I ended up working on 4 albums and each of them are really different. And I think with each of them, I took different things or I learned different things that have ended up feeding into me finishing my album now. And it's not even the most obvious things. It might be something as simple as like, when I'm working with someone else, I am not the writer, so I can end up putting more of my creative energy into like the engineering side and how to set up mics, and maybe we can try this, or being able to experiment in that way has then allowed me to be like, oh, actually that works really well in these circumstances, and maybe I can bring that into my own thing a lot more.
Do you also write for other people specifically?
A bit, yeah. I've done some songwriting sessions and it's something that I'm interested in getting into more because I think it's a very particular skill, and actually a lot of the people who are involved in the sort of songwriting side who are like producer songwriters tend to be men, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think for female artists sometimes it can be a lot easier to very quickly reach a more kind of intimate space with another woman. And I think that that's the space that I'm actually able to create with people and bring out things in them that they might not maybe access in other rooms and in other spaces where they don't feel as comfortable.
I could imagine that it's a big challenge. It's like, when is a song for yourself and when is it for somebody else?
I used to be able to tell what felt like a Sable song and what didn't, but actually recently I've been working on some tracks with a friend of mine called Sarah Hartman, who's an amazing songwriter and artist. They're so different from the other like Sable stuff that I've done, but they really feel like they belong to me in a way that I don't want to give them away. So I'm like, maybe that means that Sable is evolving rather than that I have to kind of give them up to someone.
Yeah, I mean, you can make whatever you want, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes it difficult. You also play quite a bit of gigs. Do you have a certain ritual to get into the gig mood?
I think I used to a lot more. Like I've been playing gigs since I was like 16. I started in Manchester doing like folk singing. And then when I was at uni, I basically like funded my beer by doing gigs like twice a week. Always in pubs. And I think then it was a bit more like, okay, I will arrive at a certain time and have a drink and so on. But actually, like, now that I work as a live sound engineer a lot more, and I'm very used to being in gig spaces like multiple times a week already. I think I've just reached a new level of comfort with it, and even if I'm off stage most of the time, now being on stage, it feels like I have more of an awareness of what's going on and what I need to do and what needs to be set up, and it's almost more comfortable and more routine in just setting things up and making sure that everything works.
So in your like musical career, first starting in Manchester playing the folk songs and now being here, do you have like a key moment where you're like, okay, this was like a defining moment, a musical adventure?
I mean, I've had the obvious ones, like first time I was played on BBC Radio 1 was crazy. That was like mind-blowing because it was, you know, one of those things that you aspire to from being really young. I think the one that stands out the most recently is myself and Carla, who was playing lap steel, were working on her album. Yeah, I think like we both had this feeling during that process that like, oh, we can actually really do this and we can really make something of this, and we can make, for her, like more of the artist side, but for me as the producer side, being like, no, I can really make this my career, and I am good enough and I am capable and I have something to offer. And I think that that was a really helpful thing to happen and has allowed me to almost approach situations with a lot more comfort now. And I think, yeah, it really shifted the way that I was thinking about music.
Yeah, just pivoting back to Berlin, since we always try to deliver some information about the city as well. Do you have like a go-to restaurant here in the city?
I'll start, like, there's a few. Lou's Noodle House in Mitte is a Sichuan noodle place. It's incredible. They have very strange opening times. They basically do lunch and like a bit of pre-dinner.
Yeah.
It's great. It's very spicy when you ask for the spice. But yeah, just some of the best kind of Mitte lunch food that I've ever found.
Yeah.
But I'm a Neukölln girl. I've been there for a long time. So Neukölln, I think Alaska, which is like a vegan tapas place, is amazing. And then also all of the Sudanese falafel places. Sahara, you kind of
With
can't
some
go
good
wrong.
peanut sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Talking about your album, so like if we would speak again in a year, what will have happened in the Sable universe?
The album will be out. 100% without a doubt, it will be out. I would love to have played some more shows, maybe done a release show. And also I think like what I'm looking for at the moment is some new people to work with and like produce for and kind of help their vision come to life a little bit as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great goal for the year. Thanks a lot for your song and your stories.
Yeah.
And then looking forward to your album.
Thank you.